Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today I come to you with a question. Say you were sitting there, you're having a nice happy day, you're enjoying yourself. You just, had a glass of beer or wine or whiskey or tea or coffee, whatever your beverage of choice is, chocolate milkshake for instance. You're just sitting there having a nice happy day. You look at Warhammer Community and you see an announcement, and it is an announcement that doesn't just make you go, oh, that's neat. You click on it, you see down the bottom that there is a pre-order link for a model. That model is your auto buy model. You see it, you immediately purchase it without any further thought. You don't think to yourself, I should check my bank account, make sure I've got enough in there. You don't think, do I need to eat this week? Yes, I do. I better not do that. You just buy it straight off the bat. What I want to know is, what is that model for you? And why is it that model for you? Because I've come to the realisation that despite the fact that I've been trying to be loyalist, I've been trying real hard to be loyalist. Like really, I've been putting the effort in. I've got a pretty sizable Space Marine army over there. I've got some Grey Knights knocking around somewhere in here. I'm sure they'll turn up at some point. I've got an unassembled Space Marine bike army that is just sitting in boxes that I got just before my daughter was born. And then my daughter was born, and that was that. But way back, I had an Iron Warriors army. When I first started playing the game, it was Iron Warriors all the way. And it's the rumours about Primarch Fulgrim coming back, and the possibility of him bringing some Slaanesh-themed goodness with him. This made me realise that I might not be quite as loyalist as I first thought. Because if they announced Fulgrim and new Noise Marines tomorrow, I would purchase them immediately. And if the day after that, in some bizarre parallel universe where Games Workshop just threw out major releases one day after the other, they also said, here is some Demon Primarch Lorgar for you, along with a whole bunch of, for instance, Possessed Wordbearers, Gal Vorbak, I would be all over, all four of those releases immediately. I would be buying the Noise Marines, I'd be buying Demon Primarch Fulgrim, I'd be buying Plastic those guys, and I would also grab Demon Primarch Lorgar. And when I was just like thinking about it, I was like, okay, why is it those? Like, out of everything, why is it those? There's never really been a model where I've looked at it and immediately gone, yes, I want that. Oh no, that's not true. There has, but there's never been anything where it's like, I must own that. It's been like, one day I'd quite like to paint that, or one day that'd be quite good to go in the army, but I'll finish what I've got first. No, these are things that you would just put aside, literally everything, just for that model, or just for that kit. I think for me, it boils down to a couple of things. The first is that when I was younger, I had an Iron Warriors army. Now, my Iron Warriors army was horrendously painted, because I was like, 14, 15, and had no hand-eye coordination whatsoever, and I'd never painted anything before. Luckily, they're Iron Warriors, so a bit of silver and a bit of black and a bit of gold went a long way. Hazard stripes were not in, because I couldn't paint straight lines. Luckily, I've got a lot better at that, but I had, until recently, my old Basilisk, which had hazard stripes on the shield, back when Iron Warriors could take Basilisks, and looked absolutely dog shit, looked awful, absolutely terrible. And even as I was making that army, I was kind of always thinking to myself, I kind of prefer Emperor's Children, but I don't think I'd be able to paint them. Just because they always looked so shiny and pink, and there was always a slight hint of airbrush in official photos, that of course probably wasn't actually a genuine airbrush, it was just the photography looked like it. But I just could never drum up the courage to actually attempt to paint them myself. Now though, I feel like I not only have the courage, but actually have the ability to as well. And not only that, but you can see a lot of very well painted, Horus Heresy, Emperor's Children armies. A bit of purple, bit of gold, bit of white. It goes a long way. You can end up with a really nice, shiny army. I've yet to see a proper, full-on 40k chaos worshipping, warp bullshit infused Emperor's Children army that looks to me how they look in my head from the books. I mean, when you talk about things like the cacophony and all the work that Fabius Bile did on various people, it seems like the Emperor's Children is a legion of freaks. Like, just absolute freak monsters. You know, Eidolon was walking around having had his head cut off and then sewn back on, for God's sake. He would have looked dreadful. I just haven't ever really seen anything that captures the kind of strange mix of almost like pallid, deathly, almost disfigurement, but by choice. And, you know, combined with that horrendous clashing of colours that is supposed to be their signature. Because that's the thing, Emperor's Children, in the Codex, in like Chaos Codexes for God knows how long, they're pink and black. How very outrageous. In the Horus Heresy books, when they first fall, everything is like clashing, riotous colours. Everything is over the top, it's overstimulation, it's supposed to be an offence to the senses. That is what they're all about. And yet I've never really seen any pictures of an Emperor's Children army where I've looked at it and gone, that's it. That's what I've seen. That is what I've seen in my head reading the books. I really want to do it. I mean, it'd be ugly as sin, don't get me wrong. We're talking primary colours all over the shop. Probably angling more towards pink and purple. But I want to see that vibrant clash that you just don't seem to get from official photos and from other people's painted armies. By the way, I'm not shit-talking other people's painted armies. If you've painted an army of Emperor's Children, it looks quality. But I just haven't seen any that have specifically matched what I've seen in my head so far. Because there's always one that's going to be like, you saying other people can't paint? No, just that they haven't matched what I've seen in my head when I've thought about it. So that would be why I'd grab the Emperor's Children stuff immediately. The other stuff, Lorgar and the Wordbearers, they are the chapter to me that I find most interesting. The Emperor's Children I find interesting in a kind of, I hate using this word, in like an aesthetic sense. You know? I like the idea of that force on the tabletop looking the way I want it to look. Story-wise, lore-wise, personality-wise, I prefer the Wordbearers over pretty much every other legion. They are deeply flawed, the Wordbearers, as a legion. Their Primarch is deeply flawed and spent a significant portion of his life essentially like an underconfident and out of his depth sort of person, which sounds ridiculous because he's a Primarch, but that's the thing I always liked about him. Where a lot of his brothers were overconfident or super sort of, I guess, over the top in terms of how they thought of themselves. I mean, the Lion was arrogant. He was just arrogant. He assumed he was better than everybody else, and that's as far as the thought process went. Guilliman tried really hard and came across as cold and aloof because of it. Angron was just a killing machine. Leman Russ, whilst he might be more nuanced as a character, always gives off a very brash sort of, almost like barbarian king sort of vibe. It always felt to me as though a lot of the other Primarchs put something on when they were talking to other people. They were either a bit too confident, or a bit too cocky, or a bit too sure of themselves. Lorgar pretty much feels honest, just as a person, from the start, which is a severe issue for him, because, well, a lot of the people around him don't appreciate honesty. And he's easy to manipulate because of that. For me, the character flaws of Lorgar and the way they translate into his legion, and the way that they are then twisted and corrupted by Erebus and Corphaeron, it's one of the more compelling stories in the Horus Heresy. I never used to care about Wordbearers. I honestly just did not give a damn. When I had my Iron Warriors army, and no one seemed to really give a shit about Wordbearers back in the day, if I'm honest with you. I don't know whether it was just the gaming group I was part of, but there were multiple Chaos armies, none of them Wordbearers. No one was fussed, and I think it's because they didn't feel like they had that much personality. Everyone else seemed to have a distinct flavour or purpose, whereas the Wordbearers didn't really seem to have much of anything. At least that's the way I'm remembering it. By the way, I'm going back like 15, 16 years in my head, so don't take that as some sort of gospel on the general attitude towards Wordbearers in that era. That's just what I remember. But the Horus Heresy books have done so much to build that Legion's character, and has done so much to make them interesting and human and conflicted, that they are probably, to me, the most interesting Legion out of all of them. To the point where, as I say, if there was like 40k actual proper Gal Vorbak and a Demon Primarch Lorgar figure, I would just buy them straight off, just instantly, straight away. I have to resist the urge to buy the Wordbearer stuff from Forge World as it is, because it's like I'm not going to get any use out of it, but I really want it anyway. Yeah, those two, well, those four, technically, they would just be instant buys. Fulgrim and Lorgar, instant buys. You know, an updated plastic Gal Vorbak set, the instant buy. New Noise Marines, instant buy. And I'm starting to wonder myself whether I should just make my Imperial Guard Traitors and Renegades, because I feel like I'm leaning a bit too far towards Chaos at this point. Seems a little bit weird, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, I'm going to go full Loyalist. Yeah, Imperial Guard, Heroes of the Imperium. You're a common everyday man. Oh man, I'd love to make an Emperor's Children army. Oh, isn't Lorgar awesome? Doesn't really match, does it? You never know. I might just go mental and have a Traitor Imperial Guard army. Might do that, actually. And then they can ally with Fulgrim and the Emperor's Children when they come out. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Anyway, what is your model? What is your choice model? What is the one that you would buy instantly? No thought required. You would just snatch it. You'd be like, yes, give me that right now. I'm going to paint it immediately. Give me that shit. I need it in my house right this instant. Let me know in the comments below, and why you would want that model in particular. I always read the comments, you know this. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. There's various things below the screen to click. There's a couple of videos, there's a subscribe, there's a Patreon. I think I always point at the wrong thing for subscribing Patreon, but it doesn't matter, because you don't have to click them anyway. And I'll see you for the next video. Toodaloo.